So you having a problem deciding on your next piece of gear? Let us help confuse you further. Stay tuned. Hey, it's me, Baxter.
And Jonathan.
So we were scheming and pondering, like, there's so many guitars out there now. So many amps out there now.
So many. Yeah, we can't talk about pedals.
I know.
Let's leave it in the conversation.
Like, it used to be Fender, Gibson, Fender, Marshall. You know, as far as like your sort of choices.
And did you want a Boss pedal or a Tube Screamer? And that was it, right? Maybe an electro.
Do you want a Crybaby Wah or do you want an overdrive? That's
right.
pretty much, you know.
That was it.
And so now there's so many guitars.
Yes.
And there's this big thing called the hype and propaganda machine that is thoroughly there. The companies expect us to be part of it, and we get excited about stuff too. Like all the manufacturers we work with, sometimes we are part of it. We're very transparent, and sometimes we're vocally and silently, outrageously absent. If we're absent, there's a reason. You know,
I feel like when we're part, we're just because we're genuinely excited about it.
100% of the time. There's things that we have not promoted that we've gotten in a lot of trouble with manufacturers before. But because everybody's got to be doing this.
The wrist slap.
No, because it's not this overarching manufacturer that's evil.
A cabal.
It's just a couple dudes that we talk to that are like, hey, why aren't you doing this? And like, I've had the head of like sales from some of these companies call and be like, hey, can you guys like talk about this product? We really appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, we just think it sucks. So no, we guys buy some at least? Like, no, because we think it sucks. Back to point A, and like we don't want our. But anyway, so it's tricky. It's really tricky because like I don't know how you go. I was sitting there looking at this really beautiful boutique guitar this morning, like beautiful. I'm not going to say the brand of it necessarily because I want to be. It's just. But I was looking at it. I was like, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Like, why do I not like this guitar? And so I had to ask Derek first because he showed up first. And I was like, and Derek's like, well, it's all about the hype. It's all about who has the best marketing. It's like they create this sign. I'm like, well, there's not that much hype about this thing, but it's a popular guitar and like it gets in that sort of gear page thing. And then I was like, I asked Sean, he's like, well, and he looked at it, like, it looks sort of fake. It's almost, and he said it's too well made. It doesn't feel handmade anymore. And I was like, God, that's a good point. There's part of that. It's like one of my favorite boutique guitars is I love Echo Park guitars.
Right.
I love them. And those are not the best built guitars, but they're the best playing and best sounding guitars I've almost ever played.
I think there's a difference in best built though and like hand built. Like I hate to say they're not the best built because they're.
I know, and that's not what I mean. I was trying to think of it, but
you know what I mean.
But there's like issues with it, just like a Fender has issues.
Every Fender I've ever had, including my custom shops, there's always some little eccentric like thing that is just inherent design flaws that I don't necessarily want fixed.
The 17th fret might not be perfect,
right? And some people chase that perfect, like, and that's the dudes usually. And this is not a slam at all, but like the fan frets with the no headstock, and it's like it's just amazing, right? But that doesn't appeal to me because I'm not that type of player.
We're not that good at guitar players. That's for the great guitar players that really can do that and notice it. I can't.
We like to say, "Oh, I want to fight my guitar." That way, when we have their little flubs, it's like, "Oh yeah, I was fighting it then."
Well, Jonathan knows me. Like, you can hand me almost any guitar. They actually can be 10 feet high or something. I'll play it and I'll enjoy it.
I'm pickier than you.
I'm not picky.
Like you're really picky.
But I'm super.
I mean,
I'm not picky in that respect. I'm really picky as far as if I give it the Baxter stamp of approval.
That's true.
I can tell if if this is a guitar that I would put in my collection.
That you would own.
Yes. So that's maybe part of that, but then there's so much out there. The looks of the guitar. Also, we're talking about that. Like, that's such a big selling factor. And these cool, unique sort of like Sears and Roebuck look, but fancy, like a $6,000 or $4,000 Sears and Roebuck guitar is like the rage with that. And then amps. Like,
well, and it's not even looks, right? It's like amps. This is good to talk about this song because like we just did a Marshall video somewhere in there, and the lineup is a Marshall video. Like, let's say you say, hey, I want a Marshall sound, I want a Plexi sound. I mean, there are, I don't know how many choices.
I want a Princeton sound.
I want a Princeton sound, or I want a.
Well, do you want a Milkman? Do you want a Princeton? Do you want or I want a car, or then that's going to do that sort of thing. And I want the Two Rock that kind of does this thing, or I want or just get the Fender that does that thing. When in doubt, defer to the original. That'd be my first piece of advice. And some folks are like, oh, you shouldn't do that. But when you're just jumping into this,
Well, that's funny because so many of the original, you know, like I would sort of lean that way, but then so many of the original companies, right? Like either maybe they don't exist anymore, maybe it's much.
The original to me is Fender.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like if you want like a Fender sort of Princeton sound, get a Fender Princeton.
I mean, you really, for as much as you know, I love like Magtel's, Baxter loves Two Rocks. We love all these different things. It really is hard to go wrong with any of the Fender reissue too. I mean, like they're just.
This is for your initiation in there. Until you just really get to know, like if you want that Marshall type tone, get a Marshall. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole like which Friedman sounds like a Marshall or which.
But my first thing, I was like, oh, Germino. That's my first thought when you say that, you know.
I know, because we've been trained that way by folks like us that tell you these things on the internet, the gear page, other experts that are usually corporate sponsors as well. Because we're very point blank. Like, we sell these guitars. We don't sell a lot of what we're talking about right now, because everybody that watches our channel knows that we talk about all sorts of zany things that we never even sell or sold at all. Like I like Spark amps.
I will say this just occurred to me just right now while you were talking about this, right? Like, so, you know, I said the Germino amps, right? Mm-hmm. There are some boutique brands who are so good at marketing, and there is this hype machine. And that's not saying they're bad products, like maybe they are. But then there's stuff like Germino where like I don't really ever see them advertised. It's not like there's this huge web presence or hype. It's just that he's been making great stuff so long that I just know, wow, these are fantastic. Like it's totally organic, grassroots, because people play them. That maybe that is a way to start weeding out.
No, wait, and here's what I would do if I was you, which I am you, because I still buy new things. I'm getting a new Benson. That's a whole other story I've been talking about for a bit. Like that's.
Which means I get to play it.
You will get to play it. And then we'll all be like, Or that'd be funny if it was like that. Like, I don't really like it because I thought, it is. Maybe it's not like that's just the role. But here's what I would do. Be careful who you scour on the websites. But if you have like trusted cats in the industry or like guys that you think you can kind of trust that you've met or not met, like us, you can call us and ask us. Like we're very honest about what we play. We don't, even if we don't sell, we don't care.
People do that. We do. Hey man, I know, like I get multiple calls a week where someone says, hey, you guys aren't selling this or whatever, blah, blah, but what do you think about X brand? And sometimes I'm like, oh, absolutely. If you want that, go for it. But even last week, there was 1 or 2 times where I just said, hey, listen, my honest opinion is I don't think they're very good.
But can you say what one of them was? Or I don't want to trash talk any brands necessarily, but
man, probably best to not.
Is it, okay, I'm just curious.
None of these were things that we
I just don't know what it is.
Sell.
No, but that is there's certain lines that we have sold that we stopped selling, and that because like I didn't like the way the company was going, or I didn't like some of the guitars they were making,
right?
Or amps too. Like we've had, like it happens with pedals too. Like we sort of fall out of love with them. They're not popular anymore, and like we just don't want to. We don't have what I call the bandwidth to keep managing and handling that brand.
Well, sometimes you get in love with a thing, and you have that honeymoon phase, and you live with it for a bit, and
you talk about your wife.
I know. 20 years later,
killed me.
My wife is wonderful. She's better now than the day I met her. By God,
being her, kill myself if I was her.
Now she probably has a different set of complaints.
He's so much hairier than I have had him.
Only marginally, but just in this section, But
this was already haired.
I hope she watches this one. But anyways,
no. But call the shops that you know and trust. Like they're more than willing to help. About things. I do this all the time too. Sean does it. Like, we can't spend an hour on the phone about it. Just we don't have the time for that necessarily, but we'll guide and give you pretty straightforward answer quickly.
Yep.
And like, yeah, that's a great thing. And that's how much they're asking for it. I've done this all the time. People are buying pre-owned stuff. They're like, is this a good deal? I'm like, buy that now. If you don't buy it, I'm going to go Reverb and buy it from under you and sell it and make a profit.
And I mean, if you just want to know if a boutique thing is good, just remember that's subjective. So whether we like it or not, take it with a grain of salt. You have to decide, do I love this thing? Why do I love it? And if you want it, hey, that's awesome.
And then there's this weird consumer, me as a consumer as well, consumer buying joy experience that happens when like you fixate on something. Like I've been fixating on a Benson for a while. Mm-hmm. I've been fixating on a Languedoc, which will not happen for a while, forever. I mean, but it's,
You've wanted a Benson for...
Yeah, it's like, well, because I've talked to Chris on the phone before. We've had a great, conversation. We talked about bringing him in as a dealer years ago. We just weren't at the point where it would have made sense for us. We just weren't ready to be able to sell those guitar amps. Now it's impossible to get them.
Yeah.
He doesn't even, his wait list is closed. It's eliminated. You can't get on there if you're not on there already. It's just, that's the game. I know I'm going to like that amp because I've gotten excited about it. But I'm also in a weird category, is what Sean told me this morning. I am in the olds and the riches compared to him. He's like, you can just buy one of these amps and you have a space to play it, and I can play it loud.
Sure.
I don't live in an apartment or a residential area. I live in an apartment, but it's like I can play it loud. But I have a studio here and another building next door, the guitar shop. I can put that amp in and play it loud. That's the idea. And I've sort of convinced myself how much I'm going to like it, because it's not anything I could have. And there's a fun to that too. So if you're in that situation of one of the olds, and I'm not rich, but that's what, I guess, compared to Sean, rich. I don't know.
I mean, there's probably times when I was much younger where I would have had all sorts of dumb amps.
Well, think about what Sean actually has now at his age. I had nothing like that. That dude's got a custom shop.
There's my Hot Rod DeVille.
I had the red knob Fender with twin. And I was happy as a lark with it because that's all I had. And some bastard stole it. But that's the nature of guitar world too.
I remember going through this year and a half where I only had acoustic guitars.
Oh, geez.
This was really young, And then I ended up buying a Highway 1 Telly. Was my first getting back to electric.
Great guitar.
And I had to make a choice. And so I bought this dumb GNX 3 Digitech pedal thing.
Amazing.
And that was what I was just plugging into the board with. But I was like, man, I really want to amp. And I had this horrible, it was a Behringer, did everything amp, like a digital Behringer.
I feel like I wouldn't have liked you if I met you with this rig.
You wouldn't have. I didn't like myself. I was like, oh my God.
I'm ashamed.
I'm ashamed. Finally I weaseled it wasn't a matter of, this is what I wanted. It was just what was there. But hey, what are you going to do?
No, but the internet is a wonderful place, and a place filled with landmines of confusing information.
Yes.
So it's like, you got to find the few folks you trust. Be careful of the affiliate link whores.
Yes.
Like that, we all do it. It's a thing. But I'm saying, just be careful of that. That's their whole thing, is trying to get you to buy this product I'm talking about. It's the greatest thing ever. And Fender's made some of these instruments that, I'm the biggest Fender fanboy you're going to meet. But they've made some goofball things that we do not approve of, and we tell you about it.
One of the cool things, maybe, in this crazy internet Instagram age, is if you do decide to go boutique, you can probably talk to the people building the thing. You know what I mean? Maybe you can correspond.
But let me interrupt. Sometimes that's not a good thing, because some of these builders are a little bit wacko.
Well,
I'm talking about my favorite ones that I love, like dear friends. You don't want to talk to some of these guys on the phone. They might not. You might not get what you're hoping for.
This is true.
So you might get exactly what you're hoping for. If you want a little grit and attitude, you might get it. It's like I'm friends with all of them. I love them, from the master builders at Fender to who I mentioned, like Echo Park and Castadosa. One of my other, we got a couple of those getting ready to show up this week, I think. Which is, it's always like a special moment when the Castadosa show up.
I'm sort of excited to play this.
I know it's there's a Mariana hollow body or semi hollow body and a really beautiful baritone.
Yep.
That I can't wait to see it.
It's gonna be sweet.
I got to spec out the colors on these, and these are all sort of my little babies. But yeah, and I love Carlos, but man, you might not love Carlos.
You'll love Carlos. He's lovable.
If you know how to skateboard and talk trash, you and Carlos will get on well.
Carlos is great.
Carlos is great. But you gotta have a little fun. You gotta be able to hold your liquor too. I'm looking part. He's a lot of fun. No, it's I love the world. And they kind of yellow master builders at Fender. And then freaking Tom Murphy, amazing. But certain people aren't going to click well because these guys are not salespeople.
Yeah,
they're not salespeople. So you get a little hard with
it. Maybe that's what you dig. Maybe you want that sort of thing. Because I don't really want to be sold on the thing. I want to.
And some of them are though. That's what's weird. And I don't like that either. When I meet the boutique ones, they're like all like.
That's a turn off for me. And that's not even necessarily bad. And I understand it. You have to do it kind of. But no, I just want him to be like some grumpy old man that
I want to nerd out about the product.
Yeah, exactly.
The specifications of what metals used in the pickup. Like when I sat down with Tim Shaw over Hot Chicken years ago, I saw him speak a couple months back to a Nashville. Like that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear him telling me like how, wow, this pickup is like good for like our sales numbers. I want to hear what the pickup does.
I want to hear buzzwords. Glassy, creamy, throaty.
But when guys like Tim Shaw talk, he doesn't say that. That's like us. He's like, well, this one measured out at this and X, Y, and Z, and this is the algorithm. I'm like, yes. I'm like, and my chest hairs are getting more excited.
All 4 of them.
Flexing up. Ding, ding, ding. I think I got proper heritage. Nice. Perfect. It's like the pleasure ride goes down.
Oh, my God.
Right. Manscaped to perfection.
Too much information category. It's great. When it rubbed in.
When my fantastic friend, never mind, I was going to get rid of it.
Probably, I know what story this is going to be.
I know it's going to be. DJ Tanner, that's all I'm going to say. If you're up in the world, man, he has the best manscaping advice.
Oh, my Lord.
That's all. Just like, if you want to learn about DJ Tanner, not the actress in Full House, but real DJ Tanner in New York City. Shit. Okay, I'm going to go. We got to go. So just have fun in the journey. Call your trusted advisors, and they'll help you, and they'll have fun with you too. We love it. We're gear junkies. We love it, and the other friends out there as well. I think that's it.
I think that's all.
Have a good time, though. Peace be with you all. We'll talk soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.